Hello, everybody. I'm Giles Perkins, Head of Future Mobility for WSP and Programme Director for the Adept Live Labs programme, which is a £23 million investment from DFT looking to accelerate innovation in local roads. Alongside me today, I've got Market Director for Local Transport, Jason Pavey from Atkins, who's one of our commissioning board members who oversees the project. And today we're talking to Kent. So, Carol, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Carol Valentine. I'm the project. I've got it wrong already. Right. I'm Carol Valentine. I'm the lead in Kent on the Live Labs project. Our one in Kent is called the Highways Asset Data Management System, HADMS.
Fantastic. Could you give us an overview of what the Kent Live Lab's all about, what you hope to achieve, what you've observed to date as a starter, please?
Well, we've got a number of aspects to our project. The first one is an operational platform. And essentially what we're trying to do with that is providing a centralized data platform that sort of promotes an intelligence-led decision approach for making decisions in terms of what we're doing here in highways. That would impact on things like tactical planning, ensuring compliance to what we should be doing in delivering our service. So the platform will provide a visualization for all of our managers and staff to be able to actually go and see how data that's been pulled in is being analysed and producing figures, if you like, or visualizations that they can see that will help them to make better decisions. What we're hoping to do through the platform is help to improve the efficiency of what we're doing and how we deliver our service. And also we want to improve the customer experience. That's what it's all about. It's not just about for us, but it's about what the customer can do as well. Another sort of aspect of the project is digitalising our operational process to remove where we can the sort of manual interventions and to reduce our overhead. So by making processes sort of reliable and repeatable, it means that we can trust them more in terms of making those decisions. And what's good about this is that because we're putting in data from original sources that have been analysed, we don't have it reduces the likelihood of having some sort of mistake creep in there through human error. So by improving the responsiveness of our processes, we're hoping that we're going to be more efficient, and that would be good. That'd be good for us. The other element of the project is our strategic platform. Some people are doing sort of smart cities. This isn't really smart cities, but it's about how can we improve the customer journey. So our customers now will either ring in, or they'll go onto our website, or they'll use our online fault reporting tool. That's how they report to us if they've got any problems. What we want to do through our strategic platform is to improve the reporting, making it easier for customers to do that. And what we want to do is make it much more transparent in terms of what we do, having all the information in one place. For example, someone comes and they want to report a pothole. They'll be able to see local to them, so because it's on a mapping basis, they can see whether or not, let's say they live in Tunbridge Wells, they want to report something on a particular road. But when they go into the app or onto the website, they'll be able to see what's been planned, what's already programmed, what's been done, what are their drains being cleared. They'll be able to find all that information. So we're hoping that improves the perception of what we're doing in highways. People often think we're not doing anything, when in fact we're doing a lot. And also it will mean that we'll have a happier customer who will be able to get what they want. And ultimately, if this works, we'll have less inquiries coming through to us because the customer can self-serve because all the information's there and it's in one place. So that's a strategic part of the platform, and we're putting that together now. And what we're doing with that as well is just doing some engagement with the public and with parish councils, so we can start to just test out what do people actually want from Kent. It's not just us making up what we think they want, but what do they want? And that sort of engagement, which we're starting to do now, will help to inform what that platform actually contains and what it looks like as a final output.
That sounds great, Carol. Thank you for that. Gosh, lots going on there. Just a question for me, just building your last point there around customer. It's great to see customer and end user being the focus of the services that are being delivered. I was just interested in some of the feedback you've had. Any peculiar or interesting things or taking you by surprise from what customers are actually looking for versus perhaps what they've received historically, do you think?
I think actually, Jason, that's what we're hoping to find out. We're very early in our engagement with customers, and in fact, we've got a session in 2 weeks' time with our parish council. So we're starting off with the parish council as they're representing local communities, and I think we might actually be surprised at what the customer does want. And I think this is a bit of a pull and a push. So as well as them telling us what they want, we want to be able to say to them, these are things that you can have. Maybe they didn't know they could have. And this is about transparency, about saying, actually, do you want to know if your road is on the list to be resurfaced, or you're on the primary gritting route, etc. So we want to be able to give them information as well as finding out what they want. But yeah, I'm very interested in knowing what the customer's going to say.
Just a quick question in terms of how this data feeds in. I understand there's quite a lot of sensors and other sources of data. Could you just kind of talk around how the bits of kit that are out in the road feed into the system?
Yeah, I can do that. I mean, the way we started this is we looked at what are the data sources we already have. Every highway authority's got literally hundreds probably of data sources that we rely on. And we found, as going through the project and speaking to other parts of highways, I was actually quite amazed at how much we have got out there. So first of all, we've used what we've got. So we've got the confirm system, for example. All of our jobs are in there. All of our inquiries are in there. We've got master notes, which are fitted to all of our vehicles and all of our contractor vehicles. So just by putting in that data, plus what we've got in our highway stewards and highway inspectors vans, we've been able to do a piece around efficiency. Where are the gangs? Are they doing the jobs? Are they driving past jobs? If they are, why are they doing that? How are we deploying our own staff? Have we got staff going from one end of a district to another when there's somebody closer in another district that could go in and do that job? So we've done that as a quick bit of, if you like, a bit of a quick win that we've had by analysing existing data and visualising that on the platform. And we've actually got some of our managers and staff using the platform in a sort of a beta version at the moment, and they're giving us feedback. So that's a really good feedback loop. We're finding out from them what works, what doesn't work, and what else they'd like to see on the platform. So that's our existing data sources. With then, as you quite rightly say, Giles, we've got a number of new data sources that we've got out there. So we've got sensors, for example, for winter. We've got road surface temperature sensors, 120 of those out on the network, giving us some more granular data that we want around our road surface temperatures, which will help us in our winter service delivery. We've got some sensor stroke cameras that we're sighting on streetlight columns, and they'll be looking at things like traffic movements, pedestrian movements. All of this is anonymised. We're not storing any personal data at all with this. It just helps us to know how traffic and people are moving. Part of that, we've got a number of use cases for that. Some of it's to do with the emergency funding that we got from government for encouraging walking and cycling. So the traffic, those traffic schemes. So we're able to assess where we've put in schemes. Have they been effective? And if not, then of course we can make decisions around that. We're also working with our public transport team, who are very interested in knowing what do people do when they get off the bus. Are they walking? Are they going to a station? So we're trialing this in quite a small area in Greenhithe, and that's going to help to sort of look at modal shifts. So all of that data that we get from those sensors can be put into the platform and can be visualised, so we can see how people are moving around. We've also been doing some work around sort of network risk and finding out a bit more about what's happening on our network and what parts of the network maybe have got more crashes or incidents than others. This is very much in its early stages, and we're using various data sources for that, including some sort of sensors as well, and the sensors we use in that project. We've also got, for picking up potholes, we've got some cameras and sensors that we've put on some of our highway steward and highway inspector vans, and also on buses, working with our local bus provider, Arriva. And again, we're trying to look at a way of getting information about potholes without having to have boots on the ground, particularly where we're looking at our high-speed roads or places like that where it's tricky to get the date, to get that information, but also we don't want to put our staff in any danger. So it's part of moving towards that, getting people away from where they could be in danger, where they're trying to do carry out a highway function. So those are the sort of main sensors we're using at the moment. So we've got sensors for a number of different things to bring back various different types of data. But essentially, what's really important is that we want to be able to put as much of that information into the platform so that we can then start to visualize it. Because one of the things one type of feedback we've had from staff is that when they can see something on a map, and they can drill down into it, it's much easier than looking at a spreadsheet and trying to work out what's happening. And we think that that's a real benefit to our staff, myself as a highway manager as well, in making decisions and being able to see quite quickly. And also by overlaying different data sources, we get a much richer picture. So I understand not just what's happening about my potholes that I'm concerned about, but I can also see what's happening with our resurfacing projects. I can also see what's happening with our public transport team, but I can see it all in one place. So this is going to be a really good tool for us going forward.
Wow, that sounds fantastic, Carol. The just a couple of bits there resonate with me. It sounds like feels like it's about harnessing data. It's turning data into meaningful information that people can use. I was just quite interested in, as you get more data and you look at the services and how you get that connectivity. Do you see it sort of redesigning how you do things in the future? I mean, is that going to be is it one of the outcomes, the opportunity perhaps to, join up different services in different ways, look at things based on the data you're gathering?
This sort of intelligence data-led approach, we're very much hoping will help to redesign the way we redesign what we do. I think at this point in time, it's hard to see exactly how that will work. But what it has done is it's brought together the different parts of highways. So we're looking at working much more across the whole of the business. So that's been really helpful. And I can certainly see areas where we will be able to redesign how we deliver the service, and things will be more streamlined. It's going to help for better decision making. For example, one of the ways we may see, well, thinking about a redesign is the way we use our highway stewards. So at the moment, our highway stewards have got a patch across the county. So let's say I'll use Tunbridge Wells as well. They might be in Tunbridge Wells, they might have the town centre might be their area. And they respond to inquiries. That's the way that they pick up most of their work. Well, we're looking that if we've got the data coming in, we've got a much broader view of what's happening across the network, that we may go to more of a patrolling way of delivering the service. So rather than just responding to inquiries, they can actually patrol the patch, and then in that patch they can be picking up whatever the defects are. And if we're doing that in a proactive way, it then gives the customer, we can then be giving that information to the customer because it will be on the strategic platform, and they've then got the confidence, actually I don't have to report that because I know that next week that area is going to be patrolled, as well as our highway inspections, which obviously go on all the time, our safety inspections. But this will be a different way of us delivering that part of the business, and we hope, I'm confident, feel confident that will give us an improved service going forward.
Just a quick final question from me, Carol. Kent is obviously unique in that you've got the lane rental scheme. Can you just talk around a couple of the things that have kind of grown from Live Labs being there to bring in other innovation?
The Kent Lane rental scheme has been very good for us. I mean, it gives us an opportunity to tap into another source of funding. So we so far have been able to get some funding for our initial drone trial. So the drones were fitted with sensor cameras, if you like, that were looking at terrain movement. So it was really just a proof of concept to see whether or not using a drone, you could see whether or not there was some movement, whether that's a pothole, whether it's a crack in the ground. So we were able to get funding for that, for phase 1 of that, which was very good. And we've carried that out, and the proof of concept, as far as we're concerned, has been successful. We did that with Amy Vitol and Collins Aerospace as our partners. The other funding that we've had from the Kent Mental Fund is for our network risk work stream. This work stream is very data dependent. We need lots of different data sources to model, to be able to, if not predict crashes, but to have a better understanding of why crashes happen in a certain part of the network and what interventions we need to make for that. So we've just been funded, actually. In fact, the week before last week, we submitted a bid, and we got the funding for that. We've also had funding from the fund for our smart winter project, which preceded the Live Labs. We've continued doing some work under that for Live Labs. So this has been really good for us and helped us to maybe do some areas of work that we probably wouldn't have been able to do, certainly with our own funding, or even just with the Live Labs funding.
Fantastic. Thank you for being so comprehensive, Carol. Any last thoughts for other local authorities that might be thinking about innovation?
I would say certainly go ahead and innovate. I think somebody asked about the challenges. I think it might have been you, Jason. I think that the challenges for us have just been things like procurement, but what hasn't been a challenge is getting people on board with this. As we start to talk to people about what the potential benefits should be, I've been amazed at how much people have engaged with this, how much they think, actually, this is great, let's do it. So I would say get people on board, get members on board. Our elected members are very interested in this. Get senior directors on board and talk to your neighbouring authorities. And if you can collaborate and get some work done, then by all means go ahead and do it. We wouldn't have been able to do a lot of this if we didn't have Live Labs funding. So do try and get the funding. This is an investor save. And I know that sometimes it's a challenge for authorities, but if they can get that, then I'd definitely say try that. Go out there, innovate, and it can only bring benefits.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Jason. If you want to find out more about Adept Live Labs, just Google Adept Live Labs. You'll find our white papers discussing the various things that are happening on the projects, our end of year report, and our blog and news articles. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your contributions, and see you again soon.